Hey guys, Ben Simpson here at SIMPSON VLOGS and welcome to another explained video. We haven't had one of these in a while, so sit back, grab a snack, grab a drink, kick your feet up, most importantly, have fun, prepare to educate yourselves on the Black Death. It's a very suitable one in the times we live in with coronavirus and all that going on. Let me just adjust my hat. And yeah, so check links down below, Simpson Plays, my main channel where we have more fun, gaming, no serious talk on there really, and of course SimpsonPlays.com where you can find cool blogs, thoughts and opinions by yours truly. Now of course you can check out TikTok, Instagram, Twitter and Rizzle, link down in the description for more content from me for your little faces to enjoy. So, and hit the bell notification to keep up to date with everything going on this channel. And let's get on to the Black Death. I didn't even realize how bad the Black Death was, all the main causes of it. It is a terrible, terrible disease. Okay guys, we are back and I can't remember where we were up to at all. So, the Black Death. It is a most terrible disease and there are many reasons why it killed so many people at the time. The reasons, you can list them on your hand. I mean, the state of hygiene was dreadful in the medieval period. The knowledge and scientific understanding of disease was more or less non-existent. And religion, they lived in a supernatural time where everything was about God. Whether you had multiple gods, one God, whether you believed in whatever religion you were from, it was about God or the supernatural if you don't believe in God in one way or another. And it was around about the first time that complete and utter international trade was a thing. So the same reason COVID spread so fast around the world is the same reason the Black Death did. You have trade, which means thousands if not millions of people are now inadvertently in contact with each other. I could shake I could shake the hand of a man in India and have shaken the man of 1,000 other people at the same time back in those days. Even now, really, some people just don't wash their hands. Okay, wash your hands. And listen to this as why. Because in 1346, the plague appears in the Mongol Empire, the largest empire known to man, the second largest land empire ever, and the third largest empire in human history. The Mongol Empire spans almost all of Asia, from the Mongol steppes all the way down to China, across, into Syria and all that stuff. It's ridiculous. Okay, that empire is huge. Okay, it goes up into Russia. It's ridiculous. So, the plague appears in Russia. It appears on the Mongol steppes, Russian steppes, whichever one you want to call it at the time. And it travels down and spreads throughout the world. But let's stick on the story. So it spreads down, into the heartland of the Mongol Empire, devastating it. Thousands are dying hundreds are dying by the day. That's how it starts originally. Because at this point, the plague, whilst deadly, can only be transmitted in two ways. Either you're unfortunate enough to have rats, which in those times, especially in Asia where rats come from, which I didn't know, the black rat comes from Asia. Yeah, had rats. So rats were everywhere and they were spreading around the world because of trade with the Mongol Empire, because the Mongol Empire controlled the spice, the Silk Road, the gold, the silver, it controlled it all. So it was spreading around the world at an alarming rate, the rats. And on those rats were fleas. Now, fleas are nasty. When they bite you, and drink your blood, they also vomit for some reason. I don't know why. Who eats something and vomits and continues to do it? Like, what? What? But yes, the thought of it just makes me feel uneasy right now. But they vomit into your bloodstream. And they carry the plague. They vomit that plague into your bloodstream, and lo and behold, you are about to die. Not nowadays, but back then, you are about to die. And it's slow and it's painful. You sweat, you cough, it attacks your respiratory system, it attacks your stomach, you get these horrible boils on your face. It is just horrible and painful, and you will die. But at this time, you won't spread it. Unless, of course, you're swapping spit. If you're, mooching out with somebody, you're having sexual intercourse. If you're swapping bodily fluids, then you can catch the plague from somebody. But that's the only way it's going to happen. Until we get to 1347, where a Mongol warlord decides he wants to spread the Mongol Empire. And he wants to do it by conquering a city known as Kaffa. Now, Kaffa's got some big-ass walls. And it is not going to be conquered very easily. Not only that, but the bubonic plague has stricken this Mongol warlord's entire army. His whole army is more or less dying around him. So what does he decide to do to take the city? The first recorded knowing use of biological warfare. He flings the dead bodies of his own soldiers who have died from the bubonic plague into the city to spread the virus. Now, you just heard what I said, so you're thinking, well, how can he spread the virus? The virus will spread from bodies. Remember, bodily fluids. If you fling a dead body 50 feet into the air and it lands on the ground, it's going to go splat. And that blood is going to go everywhere, spreading the virus. Not only that, even if it didn't go splat, the rats would eat the bodies, get the plague. The fleas from them would get the plague. The fleas pass the plague to you. The entire city is devastated in days. People have heard of the plague though, so they're already running scared. They are terrified. People used to throw bodies before. People used to poison wells before, but this is a no way. This body has died from the plague. You are knowingly using biological warfare. There's a reason that chemical warfare is kind of used by countries, some naughty countries, but no one uses biological warfare because of you can't control. Once it's out there, it's over. A chemical, right, is going to attack the people in the immediate area, or even at a bigger, wider. It might disperse to a wider area. But when it's biological, that means it can reproduce itself. That means it's going to not want to die. It's going to continue to try and spread itself, try and replicate itself, and try and find a new host to spread, to live. Because it's an organism. That's all it wants to do. It wants to live. So it's peak. It really is a disaster for Kaffa. By the time the siege is over and Kaffa surrenders, both sides are decimated. Not devastated, decimated. There is hardly anything left of the army. And what's left of the people have fled. They're running. They're running terrified. And not only are they running, they're leaving Asia. They're just absolutely running scared. And they go to two places. They go to either Constantinople or Siena. By 1348, almost a third of Constantinople have died from the bubonic plague, brought from Kaffa and other parts of the world. The plague has spread to China. It has devastated a fifth of its population. And China, kind of like today, had the world's biggest population at the time. So it was millions dead from the plague. The Mongol Empire was falling apart, not because it was under attack from anyone. No one was attacking anyone. It was just falling apart because its leaders were dying, left, right, and centre. Governors, civil servants, just statesmen, soldiers, horses. Everyone's dying. Pardon me. From this plague. Don't worry, I don't have it, I'm good. Everyone's dying from this plague. It is awful. But the disaster in Asia is magnified in Italy and Europe. Once it gets to Siena, the plague has evolved. It is now an airborne disease. So that means coughing, sneezing, even breathing on somebody. If you've got it, they've now got it. And that means it just ramps up, it levels up, it spreads like wildfire. They quarantined the port at Siena. It's not enough. That's funnily enough where the term quarantine comes from, where they told everyone on the ship, you ain't leaving that ship. But it was too late. It burns through Siena, almost wiping out the city. Venice, a third of its population is dead by 1348. By the end of 1348, it fires all the way over into France, where it goes to the Pope's even hometown. And as I said, supernatural. They believed the Pope could save them. He would talk to God, and God would remove it. But they soon found out the hard way. The Lord won't protect you from the bubonic plague. The bubonic plague destroys his hometown. About 230,000 people die in less than a year. It's devastating. I mean, up until World War II, there were towns in France that were abandoned until World War II and only rediscovered by, flying over and cameras to see these towns, because everyone in that town either died or left. There were cases where so many people died, there was nobody to bury the bodies. Not only because nobody bloody would, because I wouldn't go near those bodies, but, everyone was dead. And it just continued to spread. But with it came the spread of fear. Now, the thing about bacteria and thing is the same thing now, even with COVID. You don't know who's got it and who doesn't. And you don't know what it is. Okay, yes, you can see the boil. If someone's got a boil in their neck, you're thinking, yeah, you got it, I need to run. But you can't actually see it. You can't see this thing coming towards you. You can't see the killer. Okay, it's like someone invisible just cutting your life cord, and it's all over for you. And back then, there's no understanding of science at all. There's not even the understanding of that bacteria exists. There is just unimaginable fear and panic. And what does fear and panic breed? It breeds contempt. And who are the victims of contempt? In the most cases are minorities. Jews were the victim in this case. A victim all over Europe. They became persecuted, again, because of the supernatural. Most of Europe is Christian at this time. It believes in Christ. It follows the Catholic Church, the Pope. People honestly started to believe that the Pope couldn't do anything, not because the Pope was bad or because it wouldn't work or science. They believed that the Jews were the cause of it. The Jews and their beliefs were the ones causing the plague, and they were the ones doing this evil to us. And they were the ones who were persecuted. They were beaten, killed, maimed, forced to convert, or attempted to be forced to convert, driven from their homes, up and down Europe. And it wasn't the governments in this case, to be honest. Governments in many of the cases tried to protect the Jewish communities in their towns and cities. But mob law is mob law. There's nothing you can do. And hey, you're a guard and you see 10 people coming towards you. I just put on my stick, and to be honest, I'd let that. I got family too. I can't be dying out here. But yeah, that's what ended up happening, and it didn't stop. The plague continued, and by 1349 it hits London, and 70,000 more people die. It is a terror on all of Europe, to the point where, like I said, towns are completely wiped out. Villages are gone. They're gone. And by this time, it's estimated that around over 3 million are dead. It's not 3 million, that's too small a number. 24 million are dead. At the time, that's around 33% of Europe's pre-plague, population. It is devastating, and it's nothing anyone can do. But by 1350, just disappears. Maybe it ran out of victims, or the immunity of anyone who had just left probably was the cause of it. But the plague just disappeared for quite some time, reappearing in India and the United States later on, obviously. But it was of no disaster. Well, I hope you enjoyed the plague explained, and understand why you have to keep yourself clean. Hygiene, wash your hands, cough into a tissue, bin it. It's necessary. It's the same thing applies then as now. hygiene is the #1 way to protect yourself. You know, medicine and stuff is already when you're ill. If you don't want to get ill, wash your hands, shower, clean, everything like that. That will protect you. Well, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe down below. Of course, you can dislike if you didn't. That's okay too. Hit the bell notification to keep up to date not only with this series, but everything going on the channel. And of course, check out links down below. SIMPSON Plays, SIMPSONPlays.com, my website, and of course, TikTok, Instagram, Rizzle, and Twitter. Full of the faces to enjoy. I'm gonna leave you. If you didn't understand it or you didn't enjoy it, run it back and try again. Peace.